The home run ball was back for the Atlanta Braves this weekend as they win a series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Austin Riley homers in every single game as he appears to be back. We'll discuss that. And also at the minor league level, Nacho Alvarez, Drake Baldwin get off to hot starts at AAA. We'll discuss all that on today's episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I am your host, Jake Mastriani. You can follow me on social media at ShortstopBall. Make sure you check out the podcast there as well at LockedOn_Braves. Send in any questions, comments, or feedback that you have for the podcast. Always enjoy hearing from you and having those delightful conversations that we have on social media sometimes. If you're new on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button as well if you haven't already, so you can support the show here. And others can find us at Locked On Braves. You're listening on the audio version. You can do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get Locked On Braves. Thank you so much for all of your support here on the podcast. It truly means a lot to me. Love reading all the comments, all those who are everydayers out there, and those who tune in whenever you can. I appreciate whatever support you can give me here at Locked On Braves. Got another early morning podcast. We got John, Brandon Newman, Austin Pruitt, LD, and Jeffrey Humphreys all in here with me right now, with more trickling in as we go. Before we get into today's podcast, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. We're going to get started talking about the highlights from the weekend. And for the first time in a while, we actually have highlights to discuss. It's been a rough stretch here for the Braves, especially on the weekends. I feel like I've had to come in the past couple of Mondays and just rant about how bad this team is. And so even though I know Sunday was a bit of a letdown, had a chance there late, still overall was a very encouraging weekend, especially for the offense. The Braves get a series win over the Rays, just their third series win in a month. They had a series win over the Cubs last month. They had a series win over the A's that was started in May and rolled over into June. And then this series win over the Rays. They did have that split up in Boston, but other than that, this is only their third series win in a month. It's been tough times for the Atlanta Braves, and it's been really tough times for the Braves offense, but they have a bit of a breakout this past weekend. They score 7, 9, and 6 runs, and I put it that way instead of totaling up the number because for me, it's important that we see it consecutive days. And even at this point, and really you go back to the last game in Baltimore, it's now 4 games in a row that we've seen this offense kind of break out a little bit. And that's great. But I've maintained as long as this stretch has been of the offense being bad, I need to see it for, a week-long stretch. So I'm getting excited. I love what I'm seeing. I still need to see more. But a great weekend, certainly, like I said, 7, 9, and 6 runs in the 3 games, 32 hits overall. But here's the key. We've talked about this already. 9 home runs in the series, 4 home runs on Saturday, 3 in 1 inning. This offense is built on home runs. It's built on slugging. We know that. They don't do the little things great. They're not great at manufacturing runs. If they don't get the home runs, they're generally not going to score. And that's why the last game in Baltimore was somewhat encouraging because they did score 6 runs and they didn't have to hit any home runs to do that. But that is not the norm. For this offense to be a great offense, to be an offense that can score 4, 5, 6 runs a game regularly, they have to hit home runs. They don't have the athleticism up and down the lineup to steal bases. They just can't manufacture runs that way. And it is what it is. That's the lineup that was built, and it's a lineup that has been great for a while now. But we got it this weekend for whatever reason. Maybe the weather conditions were finally right. Maybe we finally got the right package of baseballs sent to us. Maybe they finally allowed us to have the regular juiced baseballs this weekend. I don't know. But either way, the home runs were coming. And when the home runs are coming and everything's level, the Braves offense is going to be better than anybody's out there. because up and down this lineup, even with the losses, and we'll talk about Michael Harris and the loss of him over the weekend and what was otherwise a great weekend, this Braves offense can do a lot of damage. So, I say that to say I'm happy with where the offense is. I'm happy with what we saw over the weekend, but it doesn't push away the fact that this lineup is still predicated on hitting home runs. That's how they're generally going to score a lot of runs, and that's true for any team. Most teams, in order to get to 6, 7, 8 runs regularly, you're going to have to hit some 2 or 3 run home runs. You look at what the Rays did on Sunday and how they won. They hit a grand slam. It's generally going to win you a lot of ball games. They had a 2-run home run late that won them the ball game. That's how good offenses, well, not even good offenses, great offenses are going to do damage. But this offense, I can't bring it all back to say this offense was built to do that better than anybody. And that's why, all things being equal, I still take this offense over most teams out there. So it was a great weekend. Glad to see some of these balls finally leaving the park. Glad to see this Braves team putting up consecutive good games offensively. If that continues, and the pitching, for the most part, we'll talk about Waldrop a little bit on Sunday, but the pitching holds up the way it has been, and we see the ball start flying out of the park a little bit more, I'm going to feel really comfortable about this Braves team going forward. Let's get into some of the individuals, and we got to start with Austin Riley. A home run in every game. He had 3 home runs coming all year coming into this series, hit 3 on the weekend. Like I said, 1 in every game. The at-bat on Sunday to tie the game. I know the Braves lost it, but that might be one of my favorite moments at bats of the season so far. I mean, just in that spot, and we got to credit Olsen. I'm talking about him in a second too, to get on base there. But just the at bat that Riley had and the struggles that he's been going through and what he's dealing with off the field as well, and losing someone who was very close to him. That was just an incredible at bat in that moment to tie up the game there, fouling off some tough pitches and then shooting one to right center over the bullpen. Just an incredible swing, an incredible at bat. He was fantastic this weekend. And now all of a sudden you look at Riley's numbers for June: 269, 345, 500, 3 home runs, which all came this past weekend, 10 RBI. A lot of those coming this past weekend. But you also look at 6 walks to 10 strikeouts for Austin Riley now in the month of June. And suddenly, Riley's heating up and things are starting to look a lot better. And look, throughout his career, Riley has had some peaks and valleys. He talked about it going into 2023, the fact that his goal was to be more consistent. And look, he wasn't that in 2023. His numbers were good overall, but there were still peaks and valleys for him throughout the season. This year, he just went on a little too long than we would have liked. Obviously, there was an injury thrown into the middle of that. But Riley, again, throughout his career, he's put up really good numbers, MVP-type stuff, and there has still been stretches over those seasons where he's been very cold. But we know when he's hot, he can carry an offense, and hopefully he is entering one of those hot periods. I did mention, prayers to the Brumley family. Mike Brumley, former hitting instructor with the Braves, was somebody that was very close to Austin Riley, actually came out to Baltimore last week to help Austin Riley kind of get through some of these struggles. He was killed in a car accident Saturday night, and so I know that was heavy on Austin Riley's heart going into Sunday. Made that home run a little bit more special for him, but prayers to the Brumley family. Now, next, I want to talk about Jared Kelenic. And I can't do that without mentioning Michael Harris. He's going on the IL with a grade 2 hamstring strain. Could be out for a while. You never really know with the hamstrings. It's kind of similar to the oblique stuff. You want to get that completely healed before you try to come back. You certainly don't want to rush that and it become a lingering issue. So they're going to give him as much time as possible, especially, the position that he plays in center field. I mean, it just stinks. It is what it is. You lose Ronald Acuna Jr. for the year. Now you lose Michael Harris for a couple of months when maybe he was starting to turn a corner and get comfortable in that leadoff spot. And now he's going to be out for potentially 2 months. And I see Austin Pruitt say MH injury should hopefully push him trade soon. I think you definitely have to factor that into the equation now because, again, he may not be back till after the trade deadline. So, Alex Anthopoulos is obviously out there looking for all the right answers and trying to figure some things out. But definitely, I think that does, necessitate even more the need to get some some more everyday outfielders in there. And not going to talk about Adam Duvall in this one. I've said my piece on him. I don't need him in there every day. It's fine to fill in for some stretches. I just don't need to see everyday at-bats from Adam Duvall right now. But I want to get back to Jared Kelenic because I want to get back to the good part. I've said it on here for a while now. If you've been listening, I've been talking about let's move Jared Kelenic up. Let's play the hot hand because he's been giving you some of the best at-bats for a while. And unfortunately, with the Michael Harris injury, that opened up this opportunity for Jared Kelenic in the leadoff spot. And he got the scoring started on Saturday and Sunday. And the home run on Saturday really seemed to put a jolt into everybody because the offense was struggling. It looked like the same offense that had been struggling for a while now through 4 innings in that game, down 1-0. And then all of a sudden, Jared Kelenic with that 2-run home run gets that big inning started. They go on and hit 3 home runs in that inning. And then on Sunday, after the Rays take another 1-0 lead in the first inning, Jared Kelenic quickly ties it up with another home run. His at-bats have just been so good for a while now. Maybe it doesn't last, like I said, but play the hot hand, see what he can do. And since Ronald Acuna Jr. went down and Jared Kelenic has had this playing time since May 26th, he's slashing .315, .356, .537, and .893 OPS, a 148 WRC plus, 50% hard hit rate, just a 7.5% soft hit rate. So everything's pretty much been medium or hard. Now, it is only a 5.1% walk rate. He's not walking, and he's still striking out 25% of the time. And it's a .395 BABIP over that stretch. So probably playing a little bit above his head, but I wouldn't expect him to hit .315. But even if that comes down a little bit and he's a .270, .275 hitter with a .330 on base, I will take that from Jared Kelenic. I think most people would have signed up for that. But the big thing is he's taking advantage of the opportunity given to him, and he's hitting lefties. 286 and 21 at-bats against lefties since May 26. My question for him now is, how does he handle center field, a much more demanding defensive position? Does that affect him at the plate at all? It didn't over the weekend, at least on Saturday and Sunday. But I think Jared Kelenic, Braves need him now. Again, you lose Michael Harris, you lose Ronald Acuna Jr., you're going to need Jared Kelenic. And right now he is delivering. So glad to see him getting that opportunity. Hate the circumstances that led to it, but he is making the most of it. And he's one of those fiery guys. You've all been asking for somebody to light a spark for this team. Jared Kelenic is fiery. Sometimes I think a little too much, but he definitely brings that fire to this team in this lineup. So good to see him kind of taking off. I got a lot more I wanted to get into before we get into Minors Monday, but I need to take a quick break here, and then I'll talk about Matt Olson, the pitching, as well as the top of the order going. We'll do all of that here next. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, and more, and you can bet on it all at FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet on everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to check out all the odds and bets that they have going on over there and get that big bet in right now. You look at the NBA odds, the Celtics are -6.5 to close things out tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. And in the NHL, the Florida Panthers are a -1.5 favorite as they try to close things out on Tuesday against the Edmonton Oilers. You can also go over to Major League Baseball where they have daily specials on strikeouts, home runs, all that over there. You can see that on FanDuel.com/lockedon. Also, make sure you visit FanDuel.com/playsafe for tools and resources to help you stay in control of the way you play. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Baseball season is in full swing. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entry. Whether it's strikeouts, RBI, or first inning run, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make Prize Picks a lineup in less than 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats projections, and you're locked in. All you got to do, download the Game Time app. You're going to go in there, go over to the MLB column. You're going to check out Max Fried. You can search Braves. You can search for certain players that you want to watch, but you're going to go in there today. You're going to see Max Fried. You're going to see what number of strikeouts they have listed for him. Pick more or less. You think he gets more strikeouts than that or less? That's all you got to do. You can go over to Jared Kelnick, who we just talked about. May have a hitter fantasy score for him. You think he'll go more or less than that hitter fantasy score? And they have so many other stat projections that you can choose from. And it really is that easy. Just pick 2 to 6 players, decide if you think they'll go more or less on certain stat points, and that's all you got to do. So download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. All right, you like having sports on your TV all day in the background while you work? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories. So you can find it on YouTube or on the Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Coming up this week on the podcast, I'm going to have obviously another Mock Trade Tuesday coming your way. We'll have an MLB draft prep around the league and a Mailbag Friday. And then I'm going to take a little bit of vacay, much needed vacation with the family to the beach. We'll be out for a little while, but got you a full week for you coming this week. All right, I did want to get to a couple more notes from the weekend, as it was a good weekend. Matt Olson, I don't think enough people are talking about the fact that he's been good for a while now. Since the beginning of May, he's slashing 287, 345, 513. That's an 859 OPS, a 141 WRC plus, a 7.3% walk rate, and a 25% strikeout rate. Not fantastic for Matt Olson, but still, the other numbers look really, really good. And before the Riley home run on Sunday, he had an impressive double on a ball he just shot the other way that bounced off the left field fence. Again, I just want to point out Matt Olson's been good for a while. I've been telling you about it on here if you've been listening, but I don't think enough people are talking about that. Getting back to the top of the order, like I said, Matt Olson's been going for a little bit. Marcel's been going all year. Jared Kelnick's hot right now. Austin Riley seems to be heating up. Ozzy's going to do what Ozzy does. He's up and down, but in the end, his numbers are going to be there. But you suddenly get those guys going at the top of the order, and you can really see this offense start to take off. Now, there are definite questions at the bottom. You suddenly look at the bottom of the lineup, both of your catchers kind of struggling at the moment. Duvall struggling for a while. Arcia has been struggling. Laureano, Martinez is at the platoon now that we're going with. There are some serious question marks, no doubt. But still, you get those guys at the top going, you don't really concern yourself too much with how bad Arcia has been or how bad Duvall has been. Yeah, I would like to upgrade those, and I'd like to get some better options happening there and get a little bit more production from those guys. But it gets to a point where if you get something from them, great. But if those guys at the top are doing what they're supposed to do, then you feel much better about this offense. On the pitching side of things, just really quickly, Sale, Morton, they looked great. It's pretty obvious at this point. Hurston Waldrop was rushed. I said it when it happened. I couldn't believe it that they were doing that with Hurston Waldrop, and I just hope this doesn't hurt his development. He seems to have, a good take on the whole thing, and he was optioned after the game, so we'll go back to AAA. Hopefully they let him stay there for a while now. Let him continue to work on things. And look, I get it from the Braves' perspective. He was dominating at the minor league level. He was certainly pitching like somebody that was worthy of getting a promotion. But there's a mental side of the game as well. And I don't think he was ready for that. The game sped up on him. And you can see that things fell apart in the fourth inning of both of his starts. He just wasn't ready for it. And that's no knock on him. He's still a very young guy, even though he has a lot of innings under his belt at the college level, but not a lot at the professional ranks. And so there's certainly things there that he needs to work on. Very excited about the future of Hurston Waldrop. But it's pretty clear now after 2 starts that he just wasn't ready for this opportunity. Bryce Elder and Alan Winans, we'll talk about them more in our Minors Monday segment. They've both been great lately. So if you wanted to go or continue the 6-man rotation, I'd be fine with bringing either of those guys up. Getting into our Minors Monday segment here, half of the Braves' top 10 prospects are injured at the moment. A.J. Smith-Shawver, J.R. Ritchie, Owen Murphy, Perdomo, all those guys injured right now. And then Waldrop and Schwellenbacher at the big league level. Waldrop on Sunday, just 3 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 walks, 6 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and gave up the big grand slam. In 2 starts, he had 8 walks to just 3 strikeouts at the big league level. And like I said, ran into trouble in the 4th inning both of those times. Schwellenbach, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned, 3 strikeouts. He's going to get a start this week against the Tigers. He looked really good in his last one, so he's going to get another turn through the rotation. But Nacho Alvarez, he gets promoted to AAA, and I thought that was a little rush as well. He'd been out of the lineup lately, so I didn't know if there was an injury happening there, and he was fine at AA. But he came up to AAA, and it's like he was just waiting on this. Like 11 for 23 this past week at Gwinnett, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 7 RBI, 1 walk to just 1 strikeout. He had a hit in every game. Things could not be going better for Nacho Alvarez right now at AAA. Cade Keeler, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, did hit 3 batters, but just 1 earned run and only 2 strikeouts. Luis Gwinnett, they didn't play a lot of games. I think they only played 1 game at the FCL level this past week, but Gwinnett made the most of it, 2 for 5 with a home run. And then Drew Hackenberg, 6 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned, and 6 strikeouts. So he had another good start there. Going down at Gwinnett, Luke Williams, 9 for 24 this past week with a double and 5 stolen bases. Drake Baldwin, he also, like Nacho, got out to a great start at AAA, 8 for 20, 2 home runs himself, 6 RBI, 4 walks to just 2 strikeouts. Forrest Wald, a lot of people asking about him. He was 6 for 17 this past week with 4 stolen bases. He's been dealing with a sore hand, according to Stripers Report on X. You want to follow them. They do a great job covering the Gwinnett Stripers. I know he got hit on the hand. I was watching that game last week, so I don't know if that's exactly what's causing him the discomfort right now. But I know a lot of people wondering, where is he at? When's he going to get an opportunity? I think a lot of it's because he's dealing with a little something right now. Bryce Elder, I mentioned him, 8 innings, 4 hits, no walks, no earned, 9 strikeouts in his last start. And 3 starts in June, Bryce Elder has pitched 22 innings. He's allowed just 12 hits, 4 walks, only 2 earned runs, and 29 strikeouts. So he certainly looks like maybe he's figured some things out. Maybe he's ready for another opportunity. Alan Winans as well. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 9 strikeouts in his last outing. And in his last 2 starts, 12 innings pitched, only 4 hits allowed, 2 walks, no earned, and 17 strikeouts. I watched his last start. That changeup was just filthy. So like I said, if they want to keep that 6-man rotation, or maybe they just want to limit the innings of Spencer Schwellenbach, I think Elder or Winans has certainly proved that they're ready for another chance. At Mississippi, not much offensively to speak about. Brandon Parker, 4 for 13 in 4 games with 2 doubles, a homer, a walk, and a stolen base. But, they called up Nacho and they called up Drake Baldwin. There's not a lot really to be excited about at Mississippi at the moment, at least offensively. On the pitching side of things, Luis Diavila, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. Ian Mejia continues his good year, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. And Drew Parrish having a great year as well, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. So all of them striking out 6. Maybe that was the cap. I don't know. But all those guys reaching 6 strikeouts this week. Down at Rome, Ethan Workinger, 8 for 23, a double, 2 home runs, 7 RBI, 3 walks. Jace Grady, 5 for 18, a double, a homer, 2 walks, and 1 stolen base. And my guy, Ambioris Tavares, still out of the lineup. So he must be dealing with some sort of injury. And you hate to see that because he was finally starting to figure things out as well, cutting down on those strikeout numbers. So hate to see that for him. Lucas Braun, I see Jeffrey's in here with me live, so I know he wants to hear this. 7 innings, 4 hits, no walks. Did hit 2 batters, but no earned runs and 12 strikeouts for Lucas Braun. Mitch Ferris, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and 7 strikeouts. Luis Vargas, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned on a solo home run, and 6 strikeouts. He's had a quietly pretty good year as well. And then Blake Burkhalter, as he continues to work his way back. Seems like the Braves are stretching him out as a starter still. I thought maybe that they would ditch that and just try him as a reliever, but he goes 3 2/3 innings, only 1 hit and 1 walk with no earned and 3 strikeouts. At Augusta, Isaiah Drake, he's starting to heat up, 7 for 20, 2 doubles, a triple, 2 walks to just 4 strikeouts. His best week at limiting the strikeouts so far, and he also stole 4 bases. Will Verdung, 7 for 16 with a double, 5 walks, and a stolen base. Adam Meyer, 4 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. Didier Fuentes, 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, no earned, and 5 strikeouts. And William Silva, 5 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no earned, and 4 strikeouts. I mentioned FCL Braves. They only played 1 game this past week. I mentioned Luis Guanipa, but also Junior Garcia went 3 for 4 in that game with a walk. And the DSL level, they haven't played a lot of games either, and I honestly just don't know many people or many prospects or any prospects that are on that team right now. But if somebody stands out, I will let you know. But that's our minor league segment this week. Let me know who you're excited about. Who could the Braves trade? It's getting to that point of the season that's the thing we got to keep an eye on with some of these prospects. You want them all getting hot so they all look good at the trade deadline. But let me know what you think. Bryce Elder, Alan Winans, or should they get another opportunity here? What are you looking for with Hurston Waldrop as he goes back down to AAA? What do you think about the hot starts from Nacho and Drake Baldwin? Could we see them potentially this year? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Next, we will preview the Tigers series coming up. A little bit tougher pitching matchup than what we saw over the weekend against the Rays. We'll discuss that here next. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a complete competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. A little bit of news from the weekend before we get into the Tigers matchup. MH2, we talked about it. He's going on the injured list with a grade 2 hamstring. Brian Singer said he'll just be out for a while. So 6 to 8 weeks, something like that, probably 2 months. I think that we'll see Michael Harris gone for. You just never really know with those hamstrings. And again, you want to make sure that it is definitely gone before you ramp things back up. Grant Holmes was called up. Ray Kerr sent down. I'm interested to see what they do with Ray Kerr. Do they continue the idea of maybe stretching him out as a starter? They've done that with Grant Holmes. He has been converted kind of back to a starter, but called up to give the Braves some bulk innings, and he did a fantastic job on Sunday. So we'll see if he gets some continued run with the Braves. They did transfer Huascar Ynoa to the 60-day injured list with elbow stress reaction. I know several of you have been asking me about Ynoa and where he's at. I mentioned he hadn't pitched since April, and now we kind of get a little bit of news officially on that he is dealing with some elbow issues, and hate to hear that. I was hoping he could be a potential option this year in the rotation or maybe even in the bullpen, but he had another setback. They did send Waldrop down after the game on Sunday. They'll call up a reliever. We'll likely get that news sometime Monday morning. But let's get into the preview with the Tigers. 3 games against them. Look at some of the numbers for the Tigers. They're 22nd in home runs, 19th in OPS, 23rd in walks, 10th most strikeouts. So not great offensively, but they are the 13th in starter ERA, but they're 18th in bullpen ERA. Their starters are really, really good. Pitching matchups are Reese Olson versus Max Fried. Get into this one a little bit more as it happens on Monday, but Olson, he had given up only more than 2 earned runs once in April and May. He's allowed 5, 8, and 4 earned runs in 3 June starts. So he is starting to regress hard. Hopefully that continues against the Braves on Monday. It is a slider, 4-seam, changeup, and sinker mostly from Reese Olson. The slider and changeup both have whiff rates over 40%. So you got to get to his 4-seamer, something the Braves have struggled with a lot this year. But that is the pitch you have to attack and sit on with Reese Olson. Pitching matchup for Tuesday is former number 1 prospect in Auburn Tiger, Casey Mize, going up against Spencer Schwellenbach, and then Tarek Skubal, who might just win the AL Cy Young, going up against Ronaldo Lopez. Maybe he'll win the NL Cy Young. Both of those guys having really good seasons, and they'll face off Wednesday afternoon. Hot hitters for the Tigers: Riley Green hitting slashing 283, 333, 604 with 4 home runs in his last 13 games. Their catchers, both Carson Kelly and Jake Rogers, have been good lately. And then Justin Henry Malloy is up with the team right now. He has 2 home runs in his last 32 at-bats with a 308 on-base percentage. So you got to look at who the Braves gave up for Joe Jimenez in this series, and maybe a revenge game for him. a revenge series for him. We'll see what happens there with Justin Henry Malloy. But, on paper, seems like another pretty favorable matchup for the Braves, and they really need to take advantage of these games. They got the Yankees coming up after this. So hopefully the Braves can continue their hot streak offensively. Pitching does what it does, and the Braves can get another series win. We'll love one of those sweeps, but hey, we're not going to get greedy. We're just taking wins right now, however we can get them. But looking forward to this series. That will do it for this episode of Locked On Braves. Again, make sure that you subscribe to Locked On Sports 24/7 or Locked On Sports Today to get your 24/7 sports news cycle. You can find that on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube to Locked On Braves. If you're new, hit that thumbs up button. Follow us on social media at shortstopball and LockedOn_Braves. Thanks again to Jeffrey Humphreys, New Turbo, Docs Cards, John, Little E, Emmanuel Fuentes, Jessica, and so many more joining me here live today. Hope you all have a great day and a great week. Again, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.